In honor of today's video, which is all about movies, I will be wearing my Lord of the Rings One Ring replica. And I don't care what you say, it's not nerdy, it's cool, mom. Also, I just realized I look like I'm wearing something out of the Shire and I'm only 5'6", so yes, I'm a hobbit. But really, there's nothing like chilling and watching a good film. But did you know that some of the most famous movies ever made that are well known by pretty much everyone actually have huge secrets that you didn't know about? Here are 10 famous films that have crazy secrets. Number 10 is Psycho. Mother says she loves me. Alfred Hitchcock's 1960 masterpiece Psycho has some surprising secrets. Hitchcock actually made a point of making cameo appearances in most of his films, and in Psycho, he can be seen through a window wearing a cowboy hat for whatever reason. Another strange fact is that the reason the entire film was shot in black and white, even when color films were the norm at the time, is that Hitchcock believed that the famous shower murder scene would have been too traumatic to watch in color. In that scene, there are an astonishing 78 camera shots which create the illusion of Janet Leigh being stabbed in the shower. Also, side note, this movie was the exact reason that I couldn't close my eyes in the shower. I didn't care if I got soap in it. I was like, I'm not getting murdered. And Psycho is also the first film in American cinema history to both show a toilet on screen and include the sound of it flushing. What can I say? People were prudes back in 1960. Number 9 is Poltergeist. Poltergeist was released in 1982, and it has some weird facts attached to it. First of all, although the film is credited as being directed by Texas Chainsaw Massacre's Tobe Hooper, many allege that Steven Spielberg secretly directed the movie. The story goes that Spielberg was forbidden by Universal Studios from directing another movie while working on E.T. You remember E.T., he likes to go home. To get around this, he hired Hooper to technically direct the movie, but many of the cast members claim Spielberg was there every day pulling the strings. But that wasn't the weirdest part. Perhaps the strangest secret of Poltergeist is that during a swimming pool scene where actors were asked to swim with dead bodies all around them, that they weren't informed that the bodies weren't dummies, they were actually real bodies. Turns out bodies are cheaper than you might think. Keep that in mind for your next pool party. Yeah. Number 8 is The Departed. Martin Scorsese's The Departed is a well-loved film, but one with a lot of secrets. For example, some directors like to place symbols throughout their movies. Well, in The Departed, Scorsese placed an X somewhere on screen or in the background to suggest that a character was either about to die or would be killed at some point in the film. Another bizarre fact is that Jack Nicholson believed that his co-star Leonardo DiCaprio wasn't showing enough fear on screen. So to remedy this, Nicholson turned up on set one day disheveled, carrying a bottle of whiskey and some matches. Here's Johnny! As he muttered to himself, acting strange, he poured the whiskey on the table, lit a fire, and then pulled a gun on DiCaprio. In Leo's own words, that changed the dynamic of the scene. Yeah, that's putting it mildly, Leo. Number 7 is The Conqueror. The Conqueror was a film about Genghis Khan, played by John Wayne, in one of the strangest casting decisions ever. But that's not all that's weird about this film. Made in 1956 by RKO Pictures, The Conqueror was nicknamed an RKO radioactive picture because of a tragedy which happened during filming. One of the locations chosen for the film was a nuclear test site in the Nevada desert. Well, nothing like showing up on set with 2 arms and leaving with 4. Once the location shooting was finished, Howard Hughes, the man who funded The Conqueror, then had 60 tons of the radioactive soil transported to Hollywood to make the sets used there look consistent. Hey there, excuse me, Mr. Hughes? Hi there, Matt Santoro, make videos on YouTube, bald guy. Listen, you could have just used any sand instead of the radioactive stuff. What's the matter for you? By 1980, 91 of the crew had developed cancer, with 46 of them dying, including John Wayne himself. Racked with guilt, Hughes spent $12 million on every existing copy of the movie to stop it from being shown for years. Number 6 is The Blob. Being a blob is a good life. The Blob is a famous science fiction B-movie from 1958, but the little known story behind it is way more fascinating. Back in 1950 in Philadelphia, 2 police officers were on patrol on September 26th. They claimed to see an object float down from the sky. Now this was not a usual event, so the officers searched for the object, and what they allegedly found is the stuff of, nightmares. Apparently, they discovered a huge gelatinous purple blob that was 1.83 meters in diameter. Basically me after an all-you-can-eat buffet. Inside of it, strange crystal-like formations could be seen through its semi-transparent skin. One of the officers touched the blob to see what it was, and, well, he wasn't eaten alive like in the film. In fact, the blob just dissolved into nothingness, but it was the basis for the classic movie. It just didn't eat everyone or try to take over the world, it was a good blob. Number 5 is Alien. That's why I'll never be in movies. In 1979, Ridley Scott directed Alien, and it has a few lesser known facts associated with it. In the scene where John Hurt's character first descends into the alien ship and passes through the smoky light beam which reacts when touched, the crew actually borrowed lighting equipment from the band The Who to pull off this effect. But that isn't the only bizarre effect in the movie. The facehugger creature during the autopsy scene was made out of oysters and other seafood put together by Ridley Scott himself so that it would look the most organic. How horrific! It's just a clam. But perhaps most bizarre of all, the full-sized alien creature has translucent skin on its head. Although it's difficult to see in the film, there's actually a visible skull inside of it. The designer apparently used a real human skull when making it. Oh, because authenticity is important, I guess. That's disturbing. Number 4 is Rocky IV. Speaking of authenticity, Sylvester Stallone went above and beyond during the making of Rocky IV. In this entry into the iconic boxing film series, the Italian stallion Rocky Balboa traveled all the way to the Soviet Union to fight Ivan Drago. That, of course, being the man who killed his best friend. Sylvester Stallone wanted the fight to look real, so he and Dolph Lundgren, who played Ivan, agreed to legitimately spar for a few shots. Throwing real punches, both actors were in great shape, but when Lundgren punched Stallone in the chest, he slammed his heart against his chest bone. Oh yeah, you wanna go? This caused Stallone's heart to swell and landed him in intensive care for 8 days before recovering. Hey yo, that's a heavy price to pay for you know, but the fight looked good. Number 3 is Batman Returns. Batman Returns was criticized for being too dark for younger audiences back in 1992 when it was released, but its problems started way even before that. In possibly one of the most bizarre moments in casting history, Sean Young, the famous actress from the films such as Blade Runner, Dune, and Ace Ventura, went on a mission to land the role of Catwoman. But rather than going the old-fashioned route, you know, of asking your agent to let Tim Burton, the director, know that she was interested in the role, she dressed up in a homemade Catwoman costume and turned up in character on Joan Rivers' talk show. Yeah, you know, I've just always really liked acting. But when that didn't work, she found out where Tim Burton was having a meeting and burst in, leapt onto the table, and began doing her best cat impression. Michelle Pfeiffer got the part. Number 2 is Halloween. Hey, there's a whole lot of bald. Halloween helped start the slasher movie craze, but the film had one bizarre secret which was central to its success. In the movie, an escaped psychopath known as Michael Myers stalks Jamie Lee Curtis and others on Halloween to chilling effect. And Myers' mask is one of the most iconic parts of the movie, and yet it has less than a creepy origin. The mask is actually a William Shatner mask from Star Trek. Scotty, beam me up, I've gotta go slash some hoes. It was actually bought for just a few dollars. Halloween was made on such a small budget that they couldn't make these masks from scratch, so James T. Kirk just had to do. The mask was then bleached and altered slightly to become a terrifying visage of Michael Myers, appearing in 8 films so far. Scotty, that's a lot of mileage for a Shatner mask. Now excuse me while I go make love to an alien. And number 1 is The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz is one of the most iconic films ever made, but it has a few secrets up its sleeve, most notably revolving around a dog actor. In the film, Judy Garland's character has a dog named Toto. The film's producer, Mervyn LeRoy, wanted to dress an actor up in a dog costume and have them play the part. Well, thankfully that decision wasn't made, and a female dog called Terry got the part. It was decided that Terry should be paid $125 a week for working on the film. That was a lot of money back in 1939, and also, why are you paying a dog money? It's a dog. It was also decided that the actors who played the Munchkins of Oz should be paid only $50 each. Is that a short joke? Half the pay for half the size? Rude. Despite having speaking and singing roles, producers thought Terry's talents of barking and running around were worth more. Okay, I'm not being doggist here, but if I was there, I would have organized a Munchkin strike, because I would have been among them. Like I said, I'm 5'6". Munchkin or Hobbit, that's all I got. So those were 10 famous films that have crazy secrets. And if you guys enjoyed this, remember to give it a big thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and click the bell beside the subscribe button to turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing, because I release new videos all the time. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!